To Sunrise, that we've got Dr. Amos Akingba, who is a NADECO and Afenifere Chieftain. Thank you for coming this morning, sir.
Thank you for having me.
Could you give us your impression about, we just had the Iowa representative leave the studio. He was talking about the statements they made. What's your impression about all of these threats and counter comments?
I'm not surprised at all. Nigeria is threatening everybody and groups.
What do you mean, Nigeria? Are we not Nigerians?
Yes.
We're threatening ourselves.
Yes.
Mean?
When we lie to ourselves and we're reaping the fruits of lying, that's a threat to our livelihood. We say we're a federal republic. We're not federal. We're not republic. We say the state of Nigeria is secular. We're not secular. We use taxpayers' money to send people to Saudi Arabia and Israel every year. A country that is built on fraudulence will reap fraud. And when the fraud is coming, we say people are shouting. Why wouldn't they shout? Hospitals are gone. Schools are gone. The roads are not there. Electricity does not exist. Water is scarce. And you think people will not cry?
So those are the little pointers that have resulted in this kind of statement.
They are the major thing that is afflicting Nigeria. We were not like this originally. Igbos, Yoruba, all the various ethnic groups, they were living in harmony. Productivity was going on. We had industrial estates booming, springing up. We have 4 refineries. They're all dead. And our population is increasing. The things to make life worthwhile, they are not there. People are going to bed without food. Children are emaciated. Research evidence are coming out that the cranial capacity of the brains of our children are getting smaller. And you say people will not shout? We are victims of the lie that we call our own, the social contract, which is another name for the Constitution. We say we in Nigeria give this Constitution to ourselves. We didn't. It was imposed. And it's not working. It's centralized. And the good things of life are not available for Nigerians. And they are crying. And you begin to blame them. You don't blame victims. You blame the system that produced the victims.
So they're actually on the same side when the Igbos say that we want secession, and the Hausa said, okay, you can go freely. The Middle Belt say that we're not part of the North. You have Afenifere on the one side. They're all crying out for the same thing.
Correct.
Do they realize this, though?
Well, if education is deficient, knowledge is also deficient. I think they do. Only they are suffocating. And they say, hey, give me breathing space, please. Let me put my house in order. That's all we are hearing. That's what it amounts to. Nigerians are hurting. Religion and ethnicity and whatever else is used to mask the class divide. The elites have let us down. The definition of elite is a group of people that have the best of whatever is going in that society.
So there are two tribes now in Nigeria, the elites and the masses.
Exactly. And they're using religion and ethnicity to mask their inefficiency. The elites who are supposed to provide leadership, they are not. All these professors, fellows of these institutes or that, they can't make roads. Even their own cars, they cannot repair their cars when they're bad. We cannot produce food, and we have professors of agronomy, of agriculture, of this. He doesn't even know how to grow them. We spend trillions of naira every year to import our food that could be produced here in this country. The elites have let us down, whether military elites, civilian elites, religious elites, of all persuasions. We're failures.
What's the way out?
The way out is to go back to the drawing board. This constitution is not made by Nigerians. It's imposed. A federal constitution should be truly a federal constitution. You don't centralize everything. The people at the center in Abuja, they're loafers. Things go there, whether in the National Assembly, the judiciary, and the executives. They are not serving. They cannot do it. They are not machines. They put too much on. There's too much centralization of responsibility, of rights. And so the thing is breaking down and people are shouting and you begin to blame the victims. We are all victimized.
Will it be wrong to say, for instance, say, let's step back a little, be patient, look at what the new budget will bring, look at the new reforms the government is putting in place, look at the so many SIP programs that they have, the structural intervention programs that they have, and they have guaranteed that these things will work. Can we be a little more patient to see that we see the benefits before we conclude?
Jimba, please, please. You say they have guarantee. Which guarantee do they have? We've been having budgets every year. They never work. We're in June now, almost to the middle of June.
But
The budget has not been passed.
it's a new administration.
Yeah. Does it make a difference? New for what? New bandits. New corruption. What is the difference between last year and this, except with that we're going backwards?
No, they say that in the past 16
Who is
years
they?
of the
Who are these
PDP,
they?
this government said in the past 16 years of the previous administration, it has brought this country to ruins and they are trying to fix it.
That's
Do you
what they
not
would
believe?
say.
Do you not believe that they have the capacity to fix it?
Nobody can fix this system. It's like putting square peg in round hole. It wouldn't work. It's not Buhari's fault, or Jonathan, or the previous ones. They were handed, and still being handed, instruments, i.e. the Constitution, that cannot work the way it is.
If I could pick it up from there, Doctor. So how do we approach this? Because we've seen people come into government, or before they come, either they come into government or when they leave, they talk about restructuring or ensure we have a proper federal system. But when they are in government, the story changes.
Yeah, when you are eating, you don't talk. That's what they say. And they're all eating now. The executives, the legislators, and the judiciary. The masses, they are going to go beyond control. That innocent people will be beaten up on the street. We're getting there. History is there throughout the world. We are human beings like other societies. When you push somebody to the wall, they react. Nigerians are reacting, and we are trying to blame them. We are all victimized. We've been put in a situation that no decent human being should be in. Nigeria never was like this. Ethnicity, religion never played important roles in our life. You were free to believe what you were. You were free to live where you are. But now the scarcity of the necessities of things of life and living have pushed people to compete for smaller and smaller good things. And so the intensity of competition is now say, okay, I must give to somebody who is a member of my church, or I must give it to somebody who is from my ethnic group or my village. This is because of the scarcity of the necessities of things of life and living. We are supposed to produce. We are consumers. We do not produce anything. All the factories that are in Nigeria have closed down. Unemployment is soaring. Boys and girls are leaving high schools, universities, no work.
Speaking about history,
and you say, if I'm really sorry, I'm really embarrassed that we are too docile. People should go out and smash all these things. They are oppressors.
You're not calling for violence.
They are being violated.
But if you're speaking
about, my friend.
Speaking about history,
if your government, your institutions are not serving you, you take them and redress them, make them work.
But people shouldn't take laws into their hands, Chief.
Which law? The law that is not their law, the law that oppresses them. You are asking the oppressor, the oppressed, to go and ask permission from his oppressors how he's going to get out of oppression. But you're joking.
Speaking about history and the masses, it's the 24th anniversary of June 12th.
Correct.
And so we do remember at that time how, it was a different scenario. Electorally, people believed in the system, everyone went out. But 24 years on, how would you say the ideals or what that period stood for has impacted the country?
Well, it has not, and that's why we're going backwards. Nigeria is going backward. Yesterdays are better than today, and if we're not careful with today, today will be better than tomorrow. That's retrogression. Nigeria is not performing in any of the social indices. We're not doing well. Education, health, agriculture, but we are, perhaps you can say we're doing well. We produce more children that we cannot take care of. As I said, because we don't take care of enough of our children, they are being born now with brains that are smaller than normal. And those are incendiary bombs for the future. They can't cope with human civilization because they're deficient at birth. Babies are not well fed. You go to any of the hospitals where babies are being born by their mothers, and those that are born at home, it's sickening. The height of Nigerian people is going down.
What about June 12th?
We're not eating well.
What about June 12th would you like to see in our nation today?
Let us do an agreement. Constitution is an agreement that we agree to live together by these rules which we will spell out about governance.
Is that a new constitution you're talking about?
Yes. This current one is a fraudulent one. And it's giving us victimhood.
Why do you say it's fraudulent?
Because we never did it, and they say we did it. If somebody says you did something that you did not do, is that not a lie? We went to court, the case is in court, praying the court to say, look, the Nigerian people never did it. The court kept adjoining, part of the problem we have. The case is still in court. In Nauru started it. A lot of distinguished men and women up and down this country had their signature there. The case has not been taken.
What do you think about the confab that we've had, let's say the recent one? If we had an implementation of that, will it solve the problems?
It will go a long way in solving them.
So why don't we adopt it and begin to use it then?
Ask me, if I'm president, I'll do it yesterday, not even today. But ask Buhari, they never believed in it. So the problems are mounting. We are suffocating. We are self-inflicted with injuries. And we will reap the fruit of our labor. That's my prayer.
But declaring the public holiday, do you consider that a step forward, such that subsequently on the days ahead, we still do know that some of those ideals have to be revisited?
Well, I hope so. I pray so. You cannot run away from the truth. If you live a life of falsehood, you reap falsehood, and it will not pay you. So sooner than later, I hope, you get out of the forest of ignorance and move to the light, the lamplight of knowledge, and be able to live a decent life. God has endowed Nigeria with human and material abundance, but we are mismanaging them. These are not leaders in every field. They are misleaders. They take care of themselves, but to no avail, because it wouldn't work. A tree doesn't make a forest. If we don't get down to brass tack and tell ourselves the truth and move this country, religion, ethnicity, all those will multiply to the detriment of the peoples of Nigeria, and an implosion could happen.
Okay, we'll talk about practical steps when we come back from this break in just a moment. Don't go away. Welcome back to Sunrise Daily. We've got a question and that will come from Mark.
Well, thank you, Chamberlain. Just quickly, we're talking about moving the country forward. But quickly, Chief, do you think that sectional groups like yours could be a part of the problem? Because now we're talking about June 12th. Southwest states are celebrating or marking the day by declaring a public holiday. There's been no attempt, it would seem, by sectional groups to ensure that, other groups, the interests of other groups are also carried along. So, for instance, now, just last month, there was also the marking of Biafra Day. We've never seen that, other groups from other parts of the country are involved in things like the awareness of such a day to ensure that, people understand that this is a country and we can actually promote things that could unite us. Why is that?
Why do you think sectional group is wrong? Are you saying that me, a Yoruba man, should translate to Hausa, Fulani, or Igbo? And that if I'm a Yoruba man, ipso facto, by the fact of it, it is wrong? I don't believe that. I want to bring the best of Yoruba civilization to the table, common table of Nigeria and Nigerians, to share with me. And I want to share their own. So I cannot bring to the table to share good things of my civilization if I don't nurse it, if I don't cherish it, if I don't do well for it. And I expect other people to put their own houses in order so that together we can bring diversity and have the benefit of diversity in our country. I don't see anything wrong with anybody promoting their own religion, their own ethnicity, their own whatever. It is good. It is only bad if you do it at the expense of others. I don't see anything that the Yoruba of my civilization has done against other people. All throughout Yoruba land in this country, through the villages, clans, etc., to the urban areas, all ethnic groups are with us. They are not terrorized. We don't victimize them. We welcome them with open arms. In fact, there is the popular saying among Yorubas that if we receive visitors and the room is not enough, you can leave your bedroom for your visitor. But when we Yorubas go somewhere else, they ask us to sleep at the gate of the house. We are very accommodating. But sectionalism is not bad per se if it is well managed. In fact, that is identity management. If you have no identity, you are not a human being. Everybody has identity. The thing is to promote it well in a cultural setting that allows for diversity to flourish. Please, I'm not against sectionalism. And we are not using Afenifere, for instance, to fight anybody. It's simply to organize, synthesize our own culture, our own language, our own values, our own ways of doing things by way of food, etc., and pass it to the human civilization. There's nothing wrong in that.
All right, we'll also anchor at that point. Dr. Amos Akingba is an NADECO and Afenifere Chieftain. We appreciate your talking to us this morning.
It's my great pleasure.
All right, and that's, thank you. That's where we also anchor the show today with